Hey everybody, Howard here with Beginning Blues Guitar Part 1. This is for those of you just getting started on guitar and you want to get into a bit of the blues, but it's also for those of you who have maybe been playing for a little while, okay? We're going to progress through this series, and so there might be some really cool stuff for you as well. But in any case, I will put a link, two links in the description box below to more acoustic blues lessons as well as my blues rock guitar course. That's for those of you who have been playing a while and you just want to shoot the project forward, okay? So first things first. I'm on acoustic guitar for this, but by all means, everything that I'm going to present here, you can do on electric guitar as well. But I know a lot of people, when they first get started, they start out on acoustic guitar. So either way is totally fine. I am in standard tuning, so you want to make sure you're in tune, either using a tuner or whatever method you prefer, okay? So, believe it or not, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you a basic E blues scale. We're not going to be running scales over and over and over again. It's just that it's the most important scale in the world of blues guitar. And it gets used a lot, and we're going to get right into making music with it, all right? So it's not going to be a boring scale workout. So this is a blues scale in the key of E, and I'm going to play it from high to low, meaning from the highest pitched note to the lowest pitched note. But of course, we want to be able to play it in both directions. But I'm showing it to you this way for a very specific reason. So I'm going to use on-screen tab throughout the lesson, but you don't have to be able to read tab to do this lesson, okay? I'm going to verbally explain everything, and of course, you'll have the visual of the video. But if you don't know how to read tab, I would really encourage you to learn. It takes like a day, if even that, right? And even though it might be slow going at first, you'll get faster at it very quickly, okay? And the reason to learn it is because it just opens up a world of music to you, okay? You can learn things faster, you can get things off of the internet, all sorts of things, okay? So I encourage you to learn to read tab, but you don't have to. So let's get into it. This is an E blues scale, one of the most common in the world of blues guitar, okay? And I'm going to show it to you from high to low, meaning the highest pitched note first. But of course, we want to be able to play it in both directions. But I'm showing it to you this way because this is the way it gets used quite a lot, and we're going to use it ourselves in our actual musical example, okay? So I'm playing the 3rd fret on the 1st string, the 1st string being the one closest to your feet. Then open on the same string. Next string, 3rd fret. Open again. So across those first 2 strings, we have 3, open, 3, open. Now on the next string, the 3rd string, we're going to play the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret, to that string open as well. All right? And as a note, that note on the 3rd fret on the G string is what's called the flat 5 or the blues note. You don't have to worry about that just yet. Just know that that's what it is, okay? So once again, we have. Then on the next string, the 4th string, we have the 2nd fret, and then open. So now we have, and then on the next string, we're going to have the 2nd fret, the 1st fret, and open. And as a note, that 1st fret note is the octave 2, the 3rd fret on the 3rd string. So that's the flat 5, once again appearing in this scale and being played an octave lower. And then we end the scale with the 3rd fret on the 6th string, and then open. So we have nice and slow. Right? And you can mix your fingers up to play that. You can see what I'm using, which I think is the most logical. But when you actually get into blues guitar playing, you'll find yourself kind of moshing up fingerings depending on what you're doing, okay? And of course, you want to be able to play the scale in both directions. That's really important. Very, very important. that scale, know it and love it because you're going to use it a lot, okay? So let's get into making some music. Now, there are two basic feels or rhythms that you have in blues. One is a straight eighth note feel, which is like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the other one is what is called a shuffle feel, and it feels a little bit different: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We will be working with both of those rhythms, okay, both of those feels, but for right now we're going to use that straight eighth note rhythm. Okay, so we're going to talk about a 12-bar blues, incorporating that blues scale into the mix. So this is what we're going to play, okay? That is a 12-bar blues, okay? And as you can see, we used a bit of the E blues scale right out the gate. So let's get into it. First, let's explain a 12-bar blues. The pattern that I'm playing is this. We're going to play that 4 times. I'll talk about some variations on that, but we're going to play it 4 times, okay? So what I'm doing is my first finger is in the 2nd fret on the 5th string, okay? And we're going to move to the 4th fret on that same string. But we're going to incorporate the 6th string open the entire time. And you can see that I stroked the pick twice on each of those. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, okay? And then we play 2 single notes, the 3rd fret on the 6th string to the 4th fret. And you can see which fingers I'm using for that. You're not moving your hand like this, you're keeping your hand in one place. So sticking with explaining a 12-bar blues, what it is and how it works, we then want to move this finger down to the next string, okay? So we're going to do the same thing, only we're doing it across the next 2 strings, okay? So we're using the open 5th string and moving our fingers to that string instead. So it's the exact same thing, right? We're just moving it down a set of strings, so to speak. Down meaning towards your feet, okay? So what we have so far is this. We want to play that 4 times, and I'll talk about the variation that I did. And then move it to the next position, and we want to play it twice. And then we want to move it back to where we were twice. So it's 4, 2, 2. Now, in the actual musical example that I played previously, we do play that first one, that first position 4 times, but on the 4th time, I replaced it with that That's called a blues walk-up. We're walking into the next position. So that's fun to do, and we want to do that now, right? Just to keep things interesting. So what you'll actually be doing is playing the pattern 3 times and replacing the 4th time with this. The open 6th string twice, 2nd fret twice, 3rd fret twice, and 4th fret twice. And then you move to the next position. And then of course back. So what we have then is and that, by the way, is called moving from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. We'll be talking about all of that later on, but for right now, we just want to learn how to play a basic blues, right? Just get the fingers going, get everything moving, and then we can get into the more technical explanations of the blues, right? So now we're going to move to what is called the 5 chord. Again, we'll talk about all of that later on. But what I'm doing here is I'm fretting the 7th fret on the 6th string and the 9th fret on the 5th string. So that can be a little bit tricky if you're not used to doing that yet. So you want to get your thumb down behind the back of the neck so that you can stretch out the palm of your hand. Now what I did is a big move for beginners. I'll explain how to do that, but you don't have to do that. I'll give you an alternative to it just to get you started, all right? So we're playing those 2 strings, and with my pinky, I'm actually reaching to the 11th fret on that 5th string. 2 off, 2 on, 2 off. And then we're going to do the same thing over here, moving to the 5th fret and the 7th fret respectively. Okay, now it's great if you can do that. Again, keep your thumb behind the neck and open up the palm of your hand so you can make that stretch. If you can't make the stretch, if it's too difficult to do, simply do this. That is totally acceptable for now, right? You don't want to not play this just because you can't make that stretch, but do practice that stretch because that's a big part of blues guitar, okay? So what we have, if you're doing it with the stretch, is and if you're doing it without the stretch, we have and then we're going to play what is called the turnaround. Now the turnaround is called that because it's a little lick or riff or pattern, and there's lots of them in blues, that brings you back to starting the whole thing over again. And in this case, for this example, we played okay, into a B7 chord. So what I'm doing is I'm on the 5th string now, and I'm playing the 7th fret twice, 5th fret twice, 4th fret, 3rd fret, and we're going into a B7 chord. And this is a little bit easier than a full B7. So what we're doing is the 2nd finger is on the 2nd fret on the 5th string. The 1st finger is on the 1st fret on the 4th string. And then your ring finger is on the 2nd fret on the G string. So we have, hopefully you can see that. And you just want to hit that chord in a rhythmic pattern, whatever suits you, and you can even swing all the way down to the 2nd string. So for that turnaround then we have, okay, and then we start the whole thing over again. So let me play the whole thing nice and slow. that is a 12-bar blues, which simply means 12 measures of music, counting to 4 12 times, okay? So again, this is just an introduction, okay? This is for those of you who are just picking up a guitar. Maybe you don't know anything at all about playing the blues, and this will get you started. So there's a couple of things here to practice. One is that blues scale. You definitely want to know that scale, okay? Because we're going to get busy with it, okay? And the other thing is just practicing that rhythmic pattern, making it as even and as smooth as possible. And the other thing I would suggest practicing is working on that stretch. Because again, that is a big part of standard blues guitar playing, okay? So this next part is going to be for those of you who found that pretty easy to do, which is always nice, and you want to take it up a notch, okay? So all we're going to do here is use that same 12-bar blues in E, but add a bit more of that E blues scale to the picture so we can decorate a little bit more, right? Because that always sounds really, really nice. So again, keep in mind that we are staying within a 12-bar blues, so any licks that are added from that E blues scale are simply taking up part of that 12-bar blues pattern, you know, so it's taking up a bit of this, right? It's taking up that space. I hope that's clear. So let's get into it. This would be the next example. Start the whole thing over, or better yet, play the first part and then play into this part, okay? So let's talk about the differences here. We're just decorating a little bit more, right? Adding a bit more flavor to the mix. So we started out the exact same way with that little slide, right? Which I didn't talk too much about that, but we will get into that. Pick that 3rd fret, slide it, a very quick slide to the 2nd fret, and open. 2 open on the next string, of course, just like we did before, okay? And then we break right into that blues pattern. And you notice I played it 3 times, just like we did before when we did the, right? But this time we're putting in a little bit more elaborate lick, okay? This is still the blues scale with a slightly different fingering here or there, which we will talk about in a future lesson. But for right now, what I'm doing is I'm using my 2nd finger and I'm grabbing the 3rd fret on the 3rd string, do a quick slide to the 4th, okay? Hold that note, lay your 1st finger down on the 3rd fret on the B string, on the 2nd string, all right? And then swing all the way down to the 1st string. And then you can see I swung back to that 2nd string. So really slowly I'm playing the 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, back to the 2nd string. Then what I'm doing is I'm using my 1st finger, my index finger, to fret the 2nd string at the 2nd fret and the 3rd string at the 2nd fret simultaneously. So you're barring one finger, the flat of your finger, right across both strings. You pick that, then open it up, pick both strings again, and then on the 4th string, 2nd fret, then open. So we have, right, cool little blues lick. And again, that replaces the 4th time of the basic blues pattern. And then we go straight to the next pattern. And then then we come back to the first pattern, of course. Okay, so what I did was I replaced those last two notes of the pattern with the open A string to the first fret, fifth string, excuse me, the open fifth string to the second fret on that fifth string as well. So we have and then we're going to move into that B7 chord that we already learned. Now, that's a very nice little blues rhythmic phrase right there. We hit the bass note twice, the single note, the fifth string, and then swing down and hit the chord twice. And then each of them one time, like that. So that full rhythm is very cool. And then we want to fret the first fret on that fifth string, walking us to an A7 chord. Okay, so what I played there, this is an A7 chord. The best way to do this is you're on the B7, simply take these two fingers and slip them down one set of strings. So you still have a string in between. You can also do it like that, but I think this is a nice way to do it coming off of that B7. One more time on that. And then what I did was I hit the sixth string open, which brings us back to the one chord. Again, we'll talk about all the 1-4-5 stuff in the next lesson. And then we played this really cool classic blues turnaround. Okay, so this is a chord shape. It's a seventh chord, it's called, and it's the same shape, just moving all the way down. I'm on the fourth fret on the third string with my second finger. I'm on the third fret on the second string with my first finger, and then I'm also on the fourth fret again on the first string with my ring finger. So we have, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so we hit that open sixth string, and that's what I'm playing. What I'm doing is I'm picking that third string with a downstroke, and then with an upstroke, coming back and attacking the whole chord, all right? Scoot it down what's called a half step, meaning your first finger will move from the third fret to the second fret, but the fingering stays the same. Move it again down to the first fret. Right, so we have, and for that last one, I'm simply using my index finger on the first fret on the third string and swinging and hitting the remaining strings all the way down toward your feet. And then I'm coming back and hitting that B7 chord again. Now, that may seem really elaborate if you're just getting started, but let me play it for you and you'll see that it's really not all that bad, okay? Good idea is to string these two patterns together. Get the first one down, and when you get to the tail end of it, turn right around and play the second exercise as well, okay? So there you go with Very Beginning Blues Guitar Part 1, and this will be a series, hopefully, and we'll take it tomorrow's, okay? And again, for those of you who want to just jump way ahead and get into some stuff, maybe you already know this kind of thing, there's some great links in the description box below. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.